It's a lively new year as your Dallas Mavericks are back on the floor to take on the Houston Rockets. We'll get you ready for tonight's game coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Happy New Year, DLLS Mavs Nation. It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team in 2025. Appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to us while you are here, and also do the same for our podcast as well. It is game night for your Dallas Mavericks. Happy New Year to all of you joining us here on our program. Your Mavericks are back on the floor tonight as they take on the Houston Rockets with some reinforcements coming back to help out the Mavericks as they look to break their 2-game losing streak. We'll get you ready for the game over the course of the next half hour at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. If you want to get at us on X, you can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, at the Stein line. Gentlemen, Happy New Year to you. Good to see both of you. How are you?
Should we just get it out of the way? Oh, the Mavericks, it's been so long since they've played. They haven't played all year. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, the Mavericks haven't lost a game in 2025. Wow, what a great calendar year for... Okay.
You feel good about what you just did?
No, I don't feel good, but I just wanted to say it. Now we move on. We're good now.
What's up, Bobby? I don't want to give no more either way.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm glad you just changed the subject. We don't need to give that oxygen.
What did you do for your New Year's Eve?
I'd stayed around here. My humble abode is virtually in the shadow of Reunion Tower, and so I had up close and personal sights and sounds of the pyrotechnics display last night.
You can see it from your window?
No, my view is the other way, but
that's what I thought.
I could see a reflection of it, and then also if you went up on the roof, you could see it. But
did you go up on the roof?
I did not. It was very cold outside. But yeah, took in the new year. It was a good time. It was a really good time, and now I'm ready for some basketball.
It is time for some basketball. Hopefully you all had a safe and happy New Year as well. Let us know what you did on New Year's Eve and celebrated New Year's Day today. And hopefully we'll celebrate a Mavericks win tonight as they take on the Houston Rockets. Game number 34 of the season for your Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, we're almost at the halfway point.
Oh my God!
Of the season.
Wow, it's flying by.
Yeah, we'll be there pretty soon. Your
Mavericks made me so happy. That's great news.
Because you want to fast forward to the playoffs.
I do. I'm ready.
You want to fast forward the season, get to the playoffs.
You could argue we're like a third of the way through, depending on how long of a run Dallas makes.
That's true.
That's very true. That's another way to look at it as well. The Mavericks 20-13 on the season, 10-8 away from the American Airlines Center. Take on a Houston Rockets team that's 21-11 on the year, 11-5 at home so far in Houston. Rockets 5.5-point favorite coming into tonight's game. The over/under at 222.5. Of course, your Mavericks fourth in the Western Conference so far this year, sit 2.5 games behind the Memphis Grizzlies for the second seed in the West. But the Mavericks just 1-3, of course, in their last 4 games since Christmas Day, having lost 2 straight of their own. Currently 1-2 on their 4-game road trip that concludes tonight in Houston. Mavericks, after what was a 5-7 start, then won 14 of 17 games and now lost, of course, 3 of their last 4 games, looking to break that 2-game losing streak. Gentlemen, tonight marks a pivotal mark of the Mavericks season as we are at the beginning of January. Tonight marks the first of 16 games in the month of January for the Mavericks in a stretch between now and January 17th, where the Mavericks will play the Rockets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Denver Nuggets twice, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's on a 12-game winning streak currently right now for OKC. This is a critical stretch for this team as they get ready to have a busy month starting tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 5th best offense in the NBA going up against the 2nd best defense. It's going to be a little bit harder without Luka out there. It's going to be a lot bit harder, but that's the reality of the 16 games, as you say, this month. And yeah, so what's interesting about Houston is, like, this is not a good shooting team. They don't have tons and tons and tons of prolific shot makers, but they do offensive. They rebound the ball on the offensive end. They get second chances. So it's doing the thing again. But it's good to have Dereck Lively back because this is the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA.
I would say that this next 13 games, by win percentage and just by number of quality opponents, might be the toughest 13-game stretch that any team in the league will play this season. Houston, Cleveland, Grizzlies, Lakers back-to-back. You get Portland, but then it's Denver, at New Orleans back-to-back, OKC, Charlotte, Minnesota, at OKC back-to-back versus Boston. The next 3 or 4 weeks, and this is going to be without Luka, are impossible. Like, it's going to be awesome whenever the Mavs win a game. It's probably going to be annoying when they lose, but they are chaining together like a 13x combo of impossibility over the next few weeks. So it's going to be weird. You're going to be waking up some days, and the Mavs are going to be 7th in the standings. But if they win tonight, they're a game out of 3rd. It's really tight in the West. Some other teams are starting to figure it out. It's going to be really, really, really difficult over the next few weeks. So keeping Kyrie healthy is paramount. Klay, paramount. Lively, paramount. It's unfortunate that they're going to play 3 back-to-backs in the next 3 weeks. And you can't really afford, as we saw, to give anyone a night off. It's going to be really, really, really hard. So you want to get wins when you can, when you're fresh against good teams, because it's going to be a lot harder. Every single game is going to be harder than the last one. So it would be sick if they could get a win tonight. But, yeah, I mean, the sense of urgency over the next 3 weeks is going to be through the roof, because this is just, like, if you're not on your game, you are going to get smoked every single time out the floor for the next 3 weeks.
To your point, Bobby, Dallas has the 4th hardest remaining strength of schedule. And a lot of that, I think, is next month. I don't have a way to calculate it over like the next 16 games specifically.
Well, just it's after that it's Wizards, Pelicans, Pistons, Cavs, Sixers, Celtics. Like Celtics are hard, but it just gets so much easier after that. So if they can make it through the next 3 weeks, like reasonably afloat, your schedule gets easier. You're going to get Luka back. There's way fewer back-to-backs. It's going to be good.
Yeah,
but you're gonna have to earn it over the next. You're gonna have to eat a lot of vegetables for the next 3 weeks.
It's 4th hardest right now. I think in 3 weeks they're gonna drop to like 22nd.
Yeah,
when this updates and once they're through all those games, but they're not through the games yet, and this is gonna be very difficult.
Mavericks, of course, 7-4 without Lukadoncic so far this year. 5 of those 7 victories have come against teams with a winning record. So hopefully that positive trend, will continue for the Mavericks. They're taking on a Rockets team that's 3rd in the West coming into tonight. They've lost 2 straight of their own. A theme of them for the last couple of games has been blowing big leads, especially against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they blew a 16-point lead in the final 5 minutes of that game of regulation to the Timberwolves, and then they blew a 12-point lead to the Miami Heat. They lost both of those games, both of them at home. Houston has, of course, won their previous 4 games before losing their last 2 games in a row. The Rockets are currently in the middle of what is a 5-game homestand for them, which they are 0-2 so far. After tonight, they'll have the Celtics and the Lakers coming to town to finish up that 5-game homestand. The Rockets are 11-8 so far against teams above 500, which gets us to our scouting report for tonight, because with Dereck Lively back on the floor for your Dallas Mavericks after missing the last few games with a left hip contusion, he's going to be needed tonight, Bobby, because rebounding is going to be the name of the game tonight when it comes to Dallas taking on this Rockets team.
Yeah, Tim mentioned it earlier. The Rockets are the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the league.
Yeah, I got to bit your scouting report.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. Last game out against the Kings, there was no Lively. We had a whole gaffer conversation on the postgame show. The Mavs allowed 18 offensive rebounds and fortunately only 17 second chance points, but that's a little skewed because there was a couple possessions where they had it felt like 35
it was 5 offensive rebounds in a single possession.
Yeah. The Mavs got out second chance points by 15 points in a game they lost by 10. If you go back to October 31st, the Mavs got out second chance points 20-8 against these Rockets in a game they lost by 6. Houston had 18 offensive rebounds. Şengün had 6. Jabari Smith had 3. Fred VanVleet, the shortest guy in the NBA, had 2. Tari Eason had 2. Amen Thompson, he's not going to play tonight. He had 2. Houston is the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the league. They rebound 35.1% of their own misses. This is a team that does not shoot well. They don't score well, but they generate so many second chances, and they do that because Jalen Green flies around the corner. You got to slide over to contest, and then Şengün is there for the tip. Or they just have freak athletes like Eason and Smith even to a degree, and Amon Thompson, again, he's out tonight, but they got a bunch of leapers that are going to crash from the corner or that are chilling in the dunker spot waiting to go jump for those second chances. And so it can't just be a one-man show. It cannot just be the center. It can't just be Gafford or just be Lively. But that is really, really important tonight because Gafford's on-off defensive rebound percentage this season, whenever he's on the floor, after the Kings game, it dropped nearly a full point, down to just 67.7%. The Mavs rebound less than 68% of opponents' misses whenever Gafford is on the floor. That is the lowest split of any player on the team. Whenever Lively's on the floor, it's 71.3%, which if you exclude Omax Prosper, who's not really a rotation player at this point, that's the highest on the team. So it can't just be Lively, though, but Lively's got to be great. Gafford needs to be way better, and everybody else has to be ready and willing to help those guys.
Yeah. Is Houston the most athletic team in the league?
Probably. Like, per capita?
Yeah.
Vertical per cap?
Yeah. I mean,
like a lot of bouncy, a lot of athletic guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This might be a thing to kind of discuss on the watch along when we have a little bit more time, but there's certainly
we got
up there.
We got plenty of time.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a lot of time.
Let's bring this back in the watch along and go through some rosters and see if we can figure it out. But yeah, they're easily, by far one of, if not the most athletic team in the league, they're one of them, and that's something that directly translates to offensive rebounds.
And I want to to spell it out a little better, the difference between Lively's on off versus Gafford's on off is about 4 percentage points, which if you bear it out across, let's say, it's 1/25th. So it's one extra defensive rebound every 25 opportunities, which might not seem like a lot, but there's anywhere from 50 to 70 opportunities in a game. And so that 1 out of every 25 times 2 is potentially 4 points or 6 points that you're saving your team. Yeah. Or sometimes, even more, because it's like, you give up an offensive rebound and then you foul a guy, so now you have to go to the bench for the next 6 minutes of game time because you got a foul trying to block a tip in or whatever. Like, there's so many ways that offensive rebounds kill you. And, that's just been a big issue recently. So you got to be on it tonight.
The lead story for the Mavericks tonight is who is back on the floor for Dallas. Kyrie Irving is back. Klay Thompson is back. We mentioned Dereck Lively. He is also back as well. Of course, Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson missed the game against the Sacramento Kings, in which they lost by 10. Najee Marshall, unfortunately, continues to be out as he continues to serve tonight the third game of his 4-game suspension for his role, of course, in the altercation with Yusuf Nurkic and the Phoenix Suns. Klay Thompson, a guy to pay attention to.
He's innocent.
He is innocent, as he proclaimed on social media. Klay Thompson, of course, in his last 9 games, somebody to watch for tonight. Over his last 9 games, averaging over 17 points per game, shooting over 40% from 3, and giving you nearly 2 steals per contest as well. Interesting number that we'll discuss as well as the night goes on. And Bobby, you'll appreciate this number as well. And Tim, I think you will too. The Mavericks will be playing their 16th different lineup in their first 34 games so far this year. So it gives you an idea of the shuffling in and out of who has been in, who's out, the injuries, and what they've been dealing with, that they're playing their 16th different lineup tonight as they play their 34th game of the season. The Mavericks, though, are playing the Rockets for the second time this season already. They lost, of course, back on October 31st at the American Airlines Center in what was a 108-102 loss. Lukadoncic had 29 points in that game. Kyrie Irving had 28 in the losing effort. These two teams will meet again on February the 8th in Dallas. But the hallmark of that game, the Rockets led that game by as many as 23 points against Dallas at the American Airlines Center. The Mavs were able to cut it to 3 after a Lukadoncic 3-pointer, but
likely thing for them to do.
Say it again.
Have a little fake comeback.
Exactly. It's what they did. But Ahmed
Thompson, don't get blown out though.
His bucket with 45 seconds left gave them a 5-point lead, and the Rockets were able to hang on from there. But the reason why I bring that up real quick before we jump to our first break is because the amount of energy that the Rockets played with that night, you talk about the athleticism, the energy and the effort that the Rockets played with and what was a wire-to-wire win for them really showed up. That cannot be the case tonight, because if you don't bring that kind of effort and intensity, the Rockets can run you out of the gym, much like how they did in the first game against Dallas. So that's something that you definitely want to pay attention to, is the energy and effort from the Mavericks tonight, and let's see what they bring coming into tonight's game. More on who's in, who's out, some X factors for tonight's game as well. Plus, we got to get you ready for our second watch along of the season, as we'll be watching the game right along with you when it comes to the Mavericks and the Rockets. But before we get there, let's talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
My sleeper pick of the day. So actually, you're not going to be able to play along with this one, but you can play along with part of it. I think Alperen Şengün getting a double-double is the easiest prediction of all time. Like, honestly, it's the easiest prediction ever. Kyrie, I modified his points plus rebounds plus assists to 30. I think he's going to get at least 30 points plus rebounds plus assists. And then finally, PJ Washington, fresh off 28 or 29, whatever he had. I think he's going to score more than 13.5 points tonight. And then Sleeper had it's called like a pick on sale, where they will modify a player's projected total a little. They'll bring it down for you to make it a little more appealing to play. So I took Jordan Poole to score more than 14.5 points. And if that hits, my winnings will be, my multiplier will be 4.46 times my $5 play, which would pay out $22.30 on Sleeper. The more picks you make, the more you can win. They have a modifier that will multiply your money all the way up to 100 times. Perfectly legal in Texas. Easy to put your money in, easy to take your money out. If you use promo code DLLS Mavs whenever you make a new account, a $5 play will get you 55 extra buckaroos to play with, and you can become a freaking millionaire like Tim Cato. That's it.
So make sure you hop on Sleeper and use code DLLS Mavs and play along tonight, and hopefully you are a winner.
I'm just really humble about my wealth.
Yep.
I don't like talking about it.
Yep.
It's fair enough.
But we all know it. We all know.
As we continue here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show, really appreciate all of you joining us here. Don't forget to stay with us. Actually, what you'll need to do is, for our watch along, you'll watch this video here, you'll watch us live here, and then you will get into another live stream with us here on DLLS Sports for our watch along tonight, our second one of the season. Hopefully we can get our record to 1-1 in watch along so far this year. As a Mavericks.
Anything is better than the last one.
You very much so.
Anything.
Anything is
Don't
much
speak
better.
too soon. Don't jinx this.
That first one. Let's get to who's in and who's out for tonight's game as the Mavericks take on the Rockets in their first game of 2025. For the Rockets, Amen Thompson, he is out tonight. He is out due to a suspension. He was suspended a couple of games for his role after tossing Tyler Hero like a rag doll the other night in the waning moments of the Rockets and Heat game. So Amen Thompson, he will not be playing tonight. I was trying to get an update when it came to Tari Eason. It's a game time decision for him. He's dealing with a left leg injury. Not sure as far as his status is officially concerned as yet. Once we do know, we will get that updated for you here on the pregame show. For the Mavericks, though, of course, Lukadoncic remains out with his left calf strain. Najee Marshall, he remains out due to his league suspension. Dante Exum out with his right wrist surgery and recovery there. But Dereck Lively II is back for the Mavericks after missing the last few games with the left hip contusion. He is back tonight. He will be on a 15 to 18-minute restriction tonight, Jason Kidd saying during his pregame comments. So Lively is back, but expecting to play between 15 to 18 minutes tonight. Does that sound about right for him coming back with the injury that he dealt with, suffering that on Christmas Day, that the 15 to 18 minutes would be about right for him tonight?
I mean, I guess.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I'm actually a little, I was kind of surprised when I saw the minute restriction.
Okay.
Unless it's like, I guess if you're really limited, then you're probably not working out too much. So maybe it's just like he's going to run out of breath real quick.
Yeah,
thing,
just surely conditioning. I guess that's the best explanation here.
Yeah, because it's just a bruise, right? That's
Right.
all it was. I mean, not just a bruise. He got hit really hard, but like it's not like he had any muscle damage or anything.
He has an owie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be the minutes restriction for him, 15 to 18 minutes tonight when it comes.
But he's also
to
starting, you know?
Yes.
There's a Rockets reporter that says no Tari Eason so far during pregame layup line, and the game is starting in 10 minutes. So
okay.
It's likely, I guess, more likely than not that he would be out if he's not out there for layup lines.
Okay, and Eason was a game time decision coming into the game, so
could be a late arrival to the court. Who knows? But that would be a big loss. He's a really freaking good player, man. He's a great player.
So
that's maybe over-exaggeration. He's really good, though.
So we'll have that updated officially once the game gets started. That gets us to our player spotlight for tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. As we look at our Mavericks player spotlight, let's focus in on PJ Washington. PJ Washington, who, of course, came back for the game on Monday against the Sacramento Kings, got out to what was a hot start in that first quarter, finished the game with 28 points in the loss to Sacramento. The Mavericks are 19-7 this year when PJ Washington plays for the Mavericks. Washington is shooting a career best 39.8% from the three-point line so far this year and has a career best 2.3 steals and blocks combined per game this year. He will be a focal point again for this team tonight. Yes, with Kyrie Irving. Yes, with Klay Thompson coming back, and also Dereck Lively. PJ Washington with his big night that he had against Sacramento. Didn't play necessarily great in the second half, Bobby, but at the same time got them off to what was a good start. Hopefully that's a sign of things continuing for him, especially when it came to the way that he was shooting the ball from the three-point line.
Yeah, he made a few threes in the first quarter, which was awesome, but
at 4.
Yeah, I don't know what he was on twos in that game. I mean, it was pretty.
He finished the game 8 for 20. It wasn't great.
Yeah, and I mean with
4
him,
of 11.
4 of 11 on twos. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Now, obviously, there was very limited shot creation, very limited playmaking with Kyrie, and then with Klay also, getting a lot of attention. Like, it should be easier for him to find some spots.
And with the free throws, he did a bit better inside the arc than 4 of 11 would indicate.
Yeah,
he was drawing fouls on a lot of his drives.
It was kind of rough. It was kind of rough. But better players on the floor should mean less attention on him, worse defenders on him, more opportunities for him to create. And against a really, really, really good, staunch, strong Rockets defense, you need all the offense that you can generate, And there are guys on Houston's roster that are prone to foul trouble, and you have to put pressure on the rim, though. You have to put pressure on them. I think back to the Phoenix game. The Mavs were able to win that game without Luka, but Phoenix was putting on a lot of ball pressure, and it was really bothering the Mavs. It was really bothering them. They were able to overcome it, just barely, but they were able to overcome it. I expect similar levels of intensity tonight, and so that means guys like PJ are going to have to be really secure with the ball. They're going to have to be really smart. They're going to have to make good decisions and good, quick decisions too. And if he can do that, then that's almost more important than whether or not the shot goes in, I think.
Another thing that Houston's really good at defensively, they're the best team at preventing fast breaks, the best team in defending transition, and
which is not easy to do whenever you're also the number 1 offensive rebound team.
It's quite a achievement, to be honest. It really speaks to their players. It speaks to Ime Udoka and what he's doing with this group. And yeah, so this is you're gonna have to grind out points in the half court. They allow threes. You can get some threes off of. They allow stuff at the rim. Sorry, I had that flipped. No, they do not allow threes. They do a pretty good job limiting threes, especially from the corners. They stay home pretty heavily, but they get players back. You have to attack them. They have athletes, but the athletes are not always going to sell out. You can't be scared of the athletes and not go to the rim, because this is actually something you can get against them, especially against Şengün, especially if Tari Eason is in fact out. They are a little bit susceptible there, but you're not going to get as many easy buckets as you'd like against a team like this. And again, I said it speaks to the athletes they have, but specifically Amen Thompson can just cover so much ground. He is a cheat code when it comes to being on one side of the court and then just appearing on the other. Like he is literally teleporting, like he's a magician. And he's not the only one on this team that's like that, but him especially. Just
down Eason and Thompson though tonight is huge. If Eason really is out,
right.
I kind of worry
so
though. That, Brooks is probably going to be the guy guarding Kyrie, and now he'll pick up some fouls on Luka a lot, but Kyrie just doesn't get the same level of whistle as a lot of other players in the league. Part of it is because he's trying to score as opposed to trying to foul bait. But if Brooks is going to be hounding him up 94 feet, that means Dinwiddie is going to have to do almost everything tonight, and that could be good or bad. But Dinwiddie has to be aggressive. He has to get 2 feet in the paint from the tip. There cannot be possessions where it's just swing around, or literally just holding the ball for 15 seconds of the shot clock. Not
take a bailout three-pointer.
Yeah, you have to be decisive, and you have to attack Houston. They're way too good to just be we'll figure it out later. I don't know. Let's just wait around. Oh, darn it, we got to shoot now.
Yeah, probably not a surprise why Dinwiddie's in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
he
has to be tonight. I mean, there's no other option.
Mavericks taking on a stingy Rockets defense that's number 2 in the NBA so far this year in defensive rating. So a team that doesn't necessarily shoot the ball well, but defends like crazy, that has them as one of the best defensive teams in the league. Offensively, of course, the Mavericks are going to be led by Kyrie Irving tonight, who makes his return after missing the game against Sacramento so far this year, averaging nearly 25 points per game with a true shooting percentage of 61.2%. That's the second highest mark of his career. throughout his 14 seasons in the league. Kyrie Irving going to be dependent upon a lot, which gets us to our X factors for tonight's game. And Bobby, you started to mention in terms of the stability of this offense. It felt like things were very hard to come by on Monday against Sacramento when you had guys like Jaden Hardy, Brandon Williams, Spencer Dinwiddie at times trying to initiate and run this offense. Kyrie Irving is back to hopefully stabilize it for the Dallas Mavericks. That, for me, is a big X factor, knowing how hard points are going to be difficult to come by at times against this Rockets defense.
Yeah, everything that happened the other night is completely out of my brain now. I have forgotten all about it. I don't even. Did the Mavs even play? I don't know.
They did, unfortunately, and lost that night.
That sucks.
That was in 2024. That's in the past.
Yeah, it feels like it was a year ago.
Yeah, it's the page has turned.
So we'll turn the pace to our next X Factor then. Let's go to X Factor number 2 then when it comes to tonight. We mentioned a little bit earlier as well. Mavericks had to match the intensity and energy level of the Rockets. The Rockets were a plus 12 in second chance points and plus 13 on the glass, including a plus 8 on the offensive glass the first time these two teams met, with Dereck Lively back in the lineup tonight, Daniel Gafford coming off the bench. The Mavericks hopefully will be able to utilize some of that size. Yes, the Rockets are the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the league. They're the number 1 rebounding team overall in the league, but you got to be able to fight some of that physicality in terms of your own big guys rebounding the basketball team. And hopefully with Lively back, that's a sign of things to come for them this evening.
Yeah, and so if there is no Tari Eason, you're probably going to see a few more minutes for Steven Adams. Is that likely the play?
Maybe
seems likely, and that's a matchup I like for Gafford. You know, Steven Adams obviously a enormous dude, but not quite.
He's going to play a lot of minutes against Alpi though with the minutes restriction.
That's true. I mean, it's inevitable. There's no way around it. I mean, if you only have 15, are you playing Gafford 33 minutes? Yeah,
like Lively get like first 5 of each half, and then like maybe one more shift in the second quarter or something.
Right. We'll probably see Maxey as the lone center at some point.
Oh boy,
in the first half. It might just be a
that's
few
fine
minutes.
Against Adams. I don't like that at all against Shingu, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, good chance for Gafford to be big, to play big. Needed. This is a needed thing against him. Just don't try to block everything, dude. This is so often how he gets in situations. he goes for blocks that he never has a chance at. But when you jump really high and you're not really involved enough in the play, so you're jumping, 3 feet away trying to get to the rim, all of a sudden you're out of position. That is so often how he gets in position or gets out of position to allow offensive rebounds. It's okay to not always go for the block. You have to have discretion and judgment to know when it's feasible, when it makes sense, and when it doesn't. And, I quite frankly, I think it's better for the team to allow a layup here or there than to, a layup is harder than a uncontested offensive rebound putback. Sure, not every single time that's going to happen, and sometimes he genuinely thinks you can just go get that block.
And for the for the believers in momentum, which it's not real. But if you do believe in momentum, then you would rather take a layup than a putback dunk, because putback dunks help momentum.
Yeah. Oh my God. NBA crowds love offensive rebounds.
Oh, they do.
It is the one, I don't want to say normies, but like it is the one thing that an NBA crowd.
It'll get the crowd going, dude.
No, it did.
I get it.
Against Sacramento the other night, the crowd definitely got into it on the 5 offensive rebounds at the end.
That was the loudest.
It was
like
the
gym
entire
all
night.
season.
Right.
That was so loud.
Right, and obviously I'm over here cheering when a point guard really successfully snakes a pick and roll. So I don't get it. Like, have I lost touch?
Maybe. Last one before we get out of here, before we get to our watch along. Win it with defense. It's interesting because the Mavericks lost the game the first time around, 108-102 to the Rockets, but the Rockets only shot 41% from the field that night and only shot 23.5% from 3. Obviously, with them dominating on the glass, that's what was able to help them in terms of second chance points as well. So the Mavericks hopefully can bring it defensively as they take on Houston, looking to break their 2-game losing streak. We want you to stay right here on DLLS Sports. We're going to end our pregame show here, but coming up next, we'll have our watch along on DLLS Sports. So make sure you hop over to our live stream. We'll be with you throughout the entirety of the game. And then we will have our post-game show right after that as well.
It's the picture of PJ. Click on that one. That's the event to go to.
Yes, and our national NBA insider, Mark Simon, will be joining us for our post-game show as well. So a busy night for us here for the DLLS Mavs crew. We cannot wait to watch the game right along with you as it's game night 2025 is here, and your Mavericks take on the Houston Rockets looking to break their 2-game losing streak. For Bobby Carella, that's Tim Cato. I'm Kevin Gray. We'll talk to you here in a few minutes here on our watch along for DLLS Mavs. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.